Who are we, and how do we want other people to see us?
Now, I don't know how you compete with a memory.
All we are a collection of memories.
It was young love. It was love without the burden of a mortgage or a job or kids. It was, the kind of love you feel before knowing loss. It was everything. But love isn't just one happy moment, right? It's a million.
Work it out.
I miss these hips. Woo! Oh.
Yeah, look at this. Look at this.
What'd I tell you? That's our guy.
God, how lucky am I to have had you both.
Eternity is a film that caught my attention right away when I heard about it late last year. Stories that entertain the idea of an afterlife deeply connect with me as someone who regularly wonders what might be waiting on the other side of life. What impressed me was how much the marketing was able to keep hidden about the story, which ironically was a common criticism about A24's earlier 2025 film Materialists. Eternity appears as a simple romantic comedy that takes place in the afterlife, but after watching the film closely, the true essence of eternity is something much more intimate. All we are is a collection of memories. This applies to ourselves and everyone else. How we remember someone is how we feel about them, and oftentimes, our greatest critic is ourselves.
I remembered what I wanted to say to you first.
What?
I love you.
Oh. That's a good opener.
I want to begin by saying that there is no antagonist in this film. In early moments, Luke and his AC Ryan are causes for conflict, but we quickly understand that they're also simply trying to do what they think is best.
Let me guess. Luke is best for me.
I want you to choose Luke because it's the life you missed.
This isn't a villain's side of the story situation. Every character has value and weight to their perspectives here. The best way I can explain the two male leads is this. Luke is a hopeless romantic, and Larry as a hopeful romantic. These are similar to each other, both believing in love and romance, but with one key difference. A hopeless romantic is stuck in a fairy tale mindset, while a hopeful romantic grounds their optimism in reality. It's also interesting to consider Luke and Larry as phases in a relationship. Luke represents the honeymoon phase where everything was perfect and full of bliss, while Larry represents the rest of the relationship, which is grounded in reality and finds joy in the simplicity and mundane parts of life. This is why Joan is consistently uncomfortable around Luke at times, because he's viewing life as a utopia. Luke's mannerisms and attitudes reflect the age he's stuck in. He acts as a late 20-year-old man who is full of energy and life, and in contrast, Joan and Larry are 90-year-old people in younger bodies, and their actions reflect that. The most powerful moment for Luke is Joan's confession, which shows who Luke truly is. He's understandably upset with Joan, but his reaction isn't toxic, and he quickly chooses to help her escape. Luke isn't the villain. He is his own protagonist and chooses to give Joan what she wants when he knows it's not what he wants. I really appreciated the choice to show Luke have his own enjoyment in eternity separate from Joan. He meets new couples and engages in activities with them, which helps us as the audience know that even though Joan left him to be with Larry, he's probably still finding ways to enjoy his eternity as well.
He is so handsome. Luke is so handsome.
You're not helping.
I'm sorry, but it is what it is. Luke is hot. His eyes are bluer than the ocean. He has a better narrative.
No, he doesn't. I have a better narrative. I was married to her for 65 years, and I gave her children.
Exactly. We go with that. That's strong. There's nothing more powerful than emotional blackmail.
Right?
Good on you.
While Joan is the one who has to choose between her two husbands, I would argue that Larry is the main character of this story. We consistently return to his point of view and his flaws. Larry is a token old man who has lived long enough to stop considering the intricate parts of life.
You got that mysterious thing, like I'm thinking deep stuff. And women, they're into that.
Really? Because I'm not. I mean, honestly, I've been dead and I haven't once thought about the meaning of life. They're like, this is it. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense to me.
You're smart. Don't overthink it. You know who you are, you know what you want, and you go and get it.
A majority of Joan's stress in this film comes from the comparison she makes with Luke. She perceives Luke as perfect and feels guilt when he puts every ounce of effort into making her happy. Larry does the same, but will constantly let his personal desires take control. Larry leaves the junction simply because he doesn't want to move to the basement, and avoids admitting this until the last moment. He throws Joan's decorative pillows off the bed. He mentions how much he hates Luke when he and Joan are together. Larry also shows numerously how he knows what will make Joan happy, as he encourages her to squat and sets up the Dean Martin performance. The moment that Joan understands that Larry is the right choice is when he races to the train and tells her to go with Luke. This is Larry's most selfless act and truly impacts Joan. From day one in her eternity, Joan thinks about Larry and reminisces about their shared memories. We also see how much Larry impacts Anna through the drive he has to spend eternity with Joan. Once Anna notices that Larry is different than all the other names on a page, her personality emerges. We see Anna enjoying her job for the first time in a while.
Look, it's got mountains and ice and snow, so many things for you to complain about. You will love it.
I don't love to complain. That's not something people love.
Larry clearly loves to complain and does it in nearly every scene he's in.
That's a little dramatic.
It's actually really hard to keep track of time here, so I applaud him. It's very practical. Larry, come on.
Ha! It's the perfect person. Look at this.
You've never looked at porn before, Larry?
4.
That's golf, idiot.
Okay, Larry, it's a
Oh,
child.
he's probably 90. She would always leave these little sticky notes on my door. She's a very passive-aggressive
Okay,
woman.
here we are. Here we are.
Need some space.
Sorry. Larry, the man died in the war.
No, I know, but it's the way he says it. The war. Like, it's one of the cool ones.
Okay.
Lurking?
Yeah, you're a lurker, pal. And you're waiting beyond to spoil a half a century of marriage.
Well, I'm sorry I died defending our country.
It was Korea, buddy. Relax.
What'd you say to me?
You didn't exactly storm the beaches in Normandy, did you?
If you are annoyed a lot in life, Larry, then you might be annoyed a lot in death. Were you annoyed a lot in life, Larry?
Listen to me. My wife really needs me
I'm
right
sorry,
now.
it doesn't work like
Wake
that.
up, Larry. Wake up. Wake up. Come on, buddy. Come on. That one's got lipstick. That means they're kissing. These are so stupid.
Are you kidding me?
Can I get a mixer with that? That is absolutely disgusting.
Come on, Joni, you love to complain.
It's not a thing people love.
Joan has a lot of depth that is not made explicitly clear in the narrative, and a lot of that comes from her escaping through the tunnels and passing her own life from infancy to adulthood, which we will get into a little bit later. Joan never holds one husband over the other and has equal stress about abandoning the other. When we begin with elderly Joan, her first lines are setups to some of the best payoffs in the film.
There's a reason that people convalesce at the beach.
You'll complain about sand getting everywhere.
I'll be happy.
The cold isn't bitter there, it's warm.
Cold is just cold.
Sand really does get everywhere.
Turns out that the cold is just cold.
Her decision is never just about her own happiness and genuinely considers Luke and Larry's happiness as well. Her interaction with both husbands on their trial eternities silently show how comfortable she is with each one. Joan watches Luke experience life for the first time while her trip to Beach World felt more normal and comfortable. This is also an allegory for couples that have differing pasts and experiences from each other. What happens when one partner is experiencing things for the first time? How does the other partner feel about themselves? Bringing things back to memories, Luke waited and assumed everything would be perfect when Joan died. Joan thought of Luke every day, but didn't feel the same way when she saw him again. The fact that she didn't go running straight into his arms is proof. Both partners are looking at the other in a memory framework, which makes things difficult when cracks appear in their version of the other person. I love how we see Joan enjoy her time with Luke, even though the narrative is moving her towards Larry.
We never had a chance to see where our love would take us. But you gave me everything that I needed in the time we had.
The world that Eternity inhabits is gorgeous and hints toward themes and character moments before the film explicitly states them. The story is highly assisted by the visuals and amplifies the film to the next level. As soon as Larry wakes up on the train, we are introduced how the people in the junction revert to their happiest states when he interacts with a 9-year-old boy still wearing his adult-sized suit. We see multiple extras in hospital gowns and all manner of clothing, which hints to the audience where they were when they died. The junction is a powerful location that we see our characters spend a majority of their time in. There are creative production choices that show the manufactured nature of the junction, most notably being the skyline backgrounds that change the time of day by a simple curtain. At the 34-minute mark, we watch the space turn from night to day in a shot that heavily reminds me of how the Axiom operated in WALL-E. One of the coolest aspects of production design is the creation of props and assets that the audience will never see, but still build the fictional world the characters exist in. Thanks to auctions, we can see that Anna and Ryan's folders of files are full of real documents about the souls they are assigned to, and is the extra effort that production designer Zazu Myers includes to assist the actors to fully encapsulate their characters instead of filling them with blank sheets of paper. One of the props I wanted to know the most about was the letter that Larry writes for Joan, which becomes a very powerful item later in the story. In the film, we never get to see everything that Larry wrote to Joan, and we are only told the contents through character dialogue. With this in mind, the filmmakers didn't need to go to all of the effort of coming up with an entire letter, but they did in order to be consistent with the film's continuity. Eternity's production design services each character by presenting their inner desires and mannerisms when the script doesn't give full attention to them. Among my favorite details of production design revolves around the ideas of red doors and Joan's journey back to Larry. All the way back to halfway through the 50-minute mark when Joan and Luke watch their wedding memory, the red door behind is illuminated, and is the same red door that Joan escapes through later. Once she does, Joan must encounter her hardest challenge and experience all the hard parts of her life. She runs past her infant self, adolescent self as her parents argue and potentially divorce, teenage self in sadness with her consoling mother, and must leave through the door where she finds out that Luke had died. It's important to notice how her journey from one place to the next becomes increasingly more difficult as she gets closer to the junction. She starts by going through the locked red door, then the door with Luke's death memory, then escapes out of a tight dryer and must finally crawl under her bed onto the train tracks. This whole sequence is about Joan having to encounter her fears and sadness throughout her entire life in order to earn her return to Larry. Stories that tackle the idea of an afterlife are some of my favorites, as it's a topic that I think of constantly. This is why The Good Place is one of the most impactful stories that I've ever seen. One of my favorite developments comes at the end of the series, as the characters see that living in endless bliss for eternity eventually becomes boring.
But didn't you want to tell us how we're all screwed?
Ah! Damn it! This is the exact problem! On paper, this is paradise. All your desires and needs are met, but it's infinite. And when perfection goes on forever, you become this glassy-eyed mush person.
This results in offering an out that souls can use to end their cosmic existence and journey in the afterlife. Eternity offers a different reality of the afterlife that I would argue is better than The Good Place. The idea that one eternity for all eternity is something that has a negative connotation in the entire film.
Where's my parents? How do I see them?
Oh, you could definitely go see your parents, but then, you'd be
with my parents for eternity.
Eternity.
Museum World's the worst!
This mindset allows for comedic moments and raises the stakes for our characters, but I choose to look at this limitation as a powerful blessing. Each eternity has their own gimmick and sticks to it. You don't see spaceships in Cowboy World or snow in Beach World. The beauty of life is the mundanity of it. Why are vacations enjoyable? Because they eventually end and we return to the real world. A vacation is not special if we don't have the opposing life to compare it to. There's no happiness without sorrow, and there is no pleasure without pain. Joan and Larry escape to the simple afterlife because it is one of the discontinued eternities, but it also shows that they will be happiest in a place that doesn't cater to one pleasure over everything else. They get to enjoy eternity together in a place where they spend a majority of their lives. There are small background moments that are hard to catch if you aren't looking for them, but they expand character relationships before they're even explicitly presented to us. We don't meet Karen until 53 minutes into the film, but when Joan mentions her in the car and later references that she died at 31 minutes, we're not curious as to who the person that Larry is meeting. We're excited to finally meet the character that has been spoken of multiple times before. Anna and Ryan's first interaction hints at their past, and it's our first guess as to what their relationship was like. From the very beginning, older Joan hums the theme of the film that plays throughout, but most importantly at the end of the film.
Hawaii is the obvious choice. Hawaii is the obvious choice.
When do we leave?
We also get to see how everybody knows Luke because he's been there so long.
Gary.
Hey, Luke. Working tonight?
Not tonight. Tonight, night off.
Wait. Is this? No. Joan? No!
No. Oh, hey, Luke. Blue Eyes was Frank. You're the man, Luke!
Another brilliant design choice comes from all of Luke's self-care items such as hair dye and workout gear. While Joan and Larry are in Beach World, we get to see how much time and effort that Luke gives to his physical appearance. The punchline comes when he's still dissatisfied with his gut. This is never explicitly stated, But because all the souls revert to their happiest physical forms, their physicality can't change beyond that. Luke can do as much superficial work as he wants to change his hair color, comb over his bald spot, and shave away his mustache, but no matter how much he bench presses, his gut will still be there. It kind of makes me feel bad for all the people who chose to go to work at World. It's powerful to see Joan escape through the red door behind her wedding memory with Luke. This is where she was the happiest, and must walk through it to rejoin Larry. I wonder how it would have felt if she chose to leave through her memory of Luke leaving at the dock, which was the last memory of Luke she had. It would have been a more powerful moment that symbolizes her leaving him behind for Larry, which she did in her life on Earth. Ultimately, I think the choice to have Joan escape through her wedding memory is the better choice, as it shows her accepting that this moment in her life is where she was happiest, but still chooses to abandon it for Larry. This all culminates in what the film is truly about.
Larry, what is a soul?
I don't know. I suppose it's the perfect version of yourself.
No, it's just you.
What is a soul? And all we are is a collection of memories. On a surface level, this film is just a simple love triangle set in the afterlife and has some comedic moments. What lies beneath is a reflection of who we are individually and how we perceive other people. Your soul is the purest form of yourself. It's the most vulnerable version of you that sheds away all facades that we place for other people. The only way to change your soul is to do the work ourselves. In contrast, memories are the most powerful way that we experience life, as they directly influence how we remember someone. We appear as different people to those around us because no one has the same memories as someone else. As much as we may try to alter someone's perspective of us, the way they remember us will always influence their opinions. Luke assumed that as soon as Joan died, everything would be perfect and they would be happy because that is the only memory he has of her. Joan's memory of Luke changes throughout her life as she falls in love with Larry and builds a life with him. Joan pictures Luke as perfect because that is what her memories tell her. This conflict comes to a peak during Joan's confession. By the end of the film, both Joan and Larry have changed into a stronger version of themselves. Larry mirrors Joan's comment about sand getting everywhere, and Joan mirrors Larry's comment about the cold just being cold, which means something different now that they've gone through their own personal journeys. Love isn't just one moment, and that's something I had to learn from a relationship that didn't last. I held this person on such a high pedestal because she was the first person to show me genuine affection, but at the end of the day, it was a small moment. Meaningful nonetheless, but small. Find the person who goes through the hard times with you and grows together through life. That's your soulmate. That's your eternity. Eternity can be viewed as a fun comedy and love triangle, but it becomes so much more when we understand what it is truly telling us about existence and how we can perceive other people. Understand how powerful memories can be in both a positive and negative way, and be true to your soul, which is the most real and intimate version of yourself. Also, if I had to choose an eternity, I would go to Disneyland. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this film as much as I have. This is my first experience with a video essay, and I had a great time making it on a film that gives me so much peace and clarity.
I know what I want now.
If you enjoyed my analysis, consider following me on Letterboxd, where I document every film I watch and how they make me feel.